Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Get Up and Job Search with Martin McGovern and Career Therapy. How y'all doing this morning? I am fucking tired. It has been a week getting back into things after taking a break last week. But we are here and we are doing it, putting in the work, getting things done. So today we're building off of yesterday's conversation. Yesterday we talked about bad habits in the job search, and today we're talking about good habits for the job search. And let's start with the Daily Stoic reading. Give me a shout in the comments. Let me know if you are up bright and early with me, drinking your liquid drugs in the morning. Gotta consume those brown liquid drugs, as Brian is giving the shout in the comments. Thanks, man. We've got... I'm blown away that it's already Thursday. So many things happening. But here we go. The Supreme Court. This is the Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. The Supreme Court of your mind. This can be swiftly taught in very few words. Virtue is the only good. There is no certain good without virtue, and virtue resides in our nobler part, which is the rational one. And what can this virtue be? True and steadfast judgment. For from this will arise every mental impulse, and by it every appearance that spurs our impulses will be rendered clear. Seneca, The Moral Letters. Think about someone you know who has character of granite. Why are they so dependable, trustworthy, excellent? Why do they have a sterling reputation? You might see a pattern, consistency. They are honest not only when it is convenient. They are not only there for you when it counts. The qualities that make them admirable come through in every action and arise with every mental impulse. Why do we revere people like Theodore Roosevelt, for example? It isn't because he was brave one time, or courageous one time, or tough one time. It's because those qualities are shot through every one of the stories about him. When he was young and weak, he became a boxer. When he was younger and frail, he went to the gym in his home every day for hours on end. When he was shattered by the loss of his wife and mother on the same day, he went to the Badlands and herded cattle, and on and on. You become the sum of your actions, and as you do, what flows from that, your impulses, reflect actions you've taken. So choose wisely. I really like this reading for a number of reasons. There's this concept that, I hear from Gary Vee all the time about looking at life in both the macro and the micro. And I think a lot of times when it comes to the job search, we focus way too much on the micro things that happen and not enough on the overall picture of what's going on. And there's this mentality that we have because the job search is frustrating, because it's not a straightforward, simple process necessarily. It is, honestly, the process is pretty straightforward, but the rejections are annoying, and the things that we have to deal with are very human. So what ends up happening is we build a bunch of really negative habits while job searching. We tend to only reach out to people when we want something. We try to fit a mold that we think the company wants, rather than just being honest and saying what we can do and who we, and being kind of upfront about who we are. And all these micro actions end up hurting us in the long run, because if you're not showing up authentically, people can tell. Well, not everyone can tell, but a lot of people can tell, because unless you're like a trained actor or something, it's pretty clear you're trying to put on a face. And so this is how you get like this whole fake it till you make it mentality, this whole say what they want to hear thing. There's a lot of nuance in all of it. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, when we are going through our career and building our career, it's really important to focus on the small interactions, the small details, and the small and really are like literally our individual thoughts about things. Definitely agree, John. John was a guest on the podcast. You should definitely go check out his episode on YouTube. Dude is great. Good to see you, man. Here's what I see all the time in the job search. Someone says, I just sent this email off to someone and I fucking hate networking. Then your email isn't going to work. If you're doing something with a shit attitude, whether you like it or not, the thing you're sending is going to be shit. Imagine if you were having a conversation with your significant other, and in your head you were thinking all the negative things about that person, while outwardly saying, you're so nice, I really love you. It's not nice. It's a lie. And it's not going to come through authentically. I was chatting with someone yesterday, and I really like the, I really respect this guy, and I want him to do well. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust my sweatpants and hit my hand. So I like this guy, and he sent me a message that kind of caught me by surprise. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. Sorry, I'm a little tired today, a little shaky with the brain. He sent me a message and basically put out the idea that, he always is the nice guy getting walked all over. And I know we've talked about this on the live stream before. And Brian, I think you've mentioned this a little bit too. This idea of the nice guy and being a pushover. The way it was phrased was something along the lines, and I'm paraphrasing, something along the lines of, I'm too nice. I'm too nice. I'm so nice that people take advantage of me. And I say yes to things, and then I go to do those things, and it's a and they don't respect the fact that I didn't even want to do it in the first place. And in the example that I'm referencing, this person ended up like storming out of work or something like that. And I'm not telling this story to hate on this person, because I know they're struggling with a lot, and the way they were treated is not necessarily positive. I'm not taking the side of the people that they feel wronged by. But what I am saying is we got to look at ourselves and we got to say, what did I do to contribute to this situation? So this person thinks that it was nice. Here, I'll just read the message that I sent, because I'm not articulate this morning. Okay. So I said, hey man, vent away. I appreciate your patience with my response. What I've learned when I was stuck in nice guy mode is that saying yes to things you don't want to do is not actually being nice. If we are outwardly, quote unquote, nice, while inwardly building resentment, it's actually meaner than saying no in a nice way, because it's actually a lie. What we need to do is learn how to give a kind no. So what I'm trying to say here, and this is building on the reading, is that if your intentions are not aligned with your actions, you're not actually being nice. You're lying. And I think a lot of people confuse saying yes with being nice, when really what is happening here is an avoidance of conflict. I don't want to say no, not because I think it's mean, but because I'm scared of conflict. I don't want to say no because not because I want to be nice to this person, but just because I'm uncomfortable with saying no. And what we need to do is learn how to be real. We need to learn how to say yes when we can and say no when we can't. And I'm still working on this to a degree, because I'll say yes to projects and then get into it, and suddenly I'm like, crap, I'm actually either not the right person for this project, or I've taken on way too much work. That's kind of the problem I'm in right now. I've taken on too much work, and now I'm like, how do I fix this? But here's what I shouldn't do. I had clients reach out to me and say, hey, Martin, are you able to take on X number of more people? And I went, yeah, I want to be nice. I want to be helpful. I can, of course, take on more people. And then they send me more people, and suddenly my life is an absolute chaos because I didn't quite do the math right, and I have way more people to coach than I have time for, just logistically. There's not enough hours in the week to provide quality coaching, let's say, to the number of people that I'm coaching. So I'm trying to figure out how to group things, maybe do group meetings, maybe do every other week with people rather than every single week. I'm trying to figure out solutions here. And there might even be, a need to, well, I've already done this. I've hired a second coach to take some of the load. Now, that's a proper response, right? I said yes to a thing, and now I'm trying to fulfill that yes with strategic responses and actions. What would be shitty of me would be to say yes to those things get all these clients, and then be resentful of the person that asked if I could do this. That would be fucked up. If someone says, hey, can you do this? And I say yes, and then they give me the work, and then I get pissed off because they gave me so much work to do, that's on me, not on them. So what I'm trying to say in this case is the nice guy syndrome that we've talked about on this live stream before is not actually being authentic, is not actually being nice, is not actually being honest. So what we need to do is say, what are my actions actually aligned with my values, goals, intentions, and all that stuff? And that's what this reading is saying. If you want to be someone of good character, someone who's dependable, trustworthy, and excellent, you need to have a consistent approach to what you do. You need to be there not just when it counts, but through every action and every mental impulse. Now, what does this mean? Man, it's a hard one today. Appreciate you rolling with me this morning. What this means is, if our mentality about the job search is, I hate every aspect of this and I don't want to do it, but I guess I'll do it because I have to, we are already playing a losing game. If every day you wake up and your response to the job search is, I can't believe I have to do this, you're already losing the game. We need to brainwash ourselves. And I mean that literally. We need to brainwash ourselves into thinking about these things as positives. We need to stop looking at every action of the job search. Sorry, this thing keeps flashing. We need to stop looking at every action of the job search as something we're being forced to do. Because we're not. Because you always have a choice to just not have a job. That is a choice. But if you want a job, you have to do the things that get you a job. And there's a lot of different things to choose from. It's not one way of doing it. You have to network, but how you network is up to you. You have to sell yourself, but how you sell yourself is up to you. All these things are up to you, right? So what I'm trying to get at here is, let's say, use the relationship example again. I really want to be in a relationship. Then I get into a relationship, and every day I go, God, this person wants so much of my time. What is going on? Why can't they just leave me alone? Why do I have to be thinking about other people all the time? Why can't I just be independent and in a relationship? Because you decided to be in a relationship. If you decide to be in a relationship, you got to take all the good and all the bad that comes with it. Now, I'm not a parent, but I would assume if you choose to have a kid, there's going to be a lot of great times of having kids and a lot of shitty times of having kids. And if you're not ready to do both, to take on both, you're going to be a pretty crappy person throughout the process. Whatever job you take, is going to have great things that you love about the job and shitty things that you hate about the job. And you've got to take both into consideration. The job search is frustrating if you find the fun in it, if you look for the fun things. So Brian is saying the dehumanizing and frustrating problems I have with the job hunt is every rejection tells me in some way or another you are not good enough. You are inadequate and a failure who cannot meet the expectations at all because you did not follow every abstract criteria that has little to do with the actual practices of the job in question, but is appeasing a gatekeeper who has a set of rules to please him or her that are not clearly wrong when you are graced with rare feedback and why that even isn't. I think I got lost at the end there, but your point here, you said every rejection tells me in some way or another that I'm not good enough. That right there, that phrase is what we need to address. Getting rejected is not saying you're not good enough. Because you're inflating you're inflating the weight of a rejection. I get rejected all the time, likely every day. I'm not even aware of all the rejection that I get. Rejection is not, there's another point here. When you're graced with rare feedback of why, even that isn't clear, cut, defined, or consistent, your resume didn't have enough buzzwords, you don't have enough experience, this may or may not be true. You aren't friends with someone who works there. If I had to do this for another 6 months or the DMV for 6 months, at least I would know exactly what I was supposed to do. Just wait in line for those 6 months. I want to be accepted. I want to meet expectations. Okay. Let me finish my point from earlier, and then I'm going to go through the rest. Rejection from a company is not personal. I'm going to say that again. Rejection from a company, although it feels very, 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 very personal, is not personal. They are not saying you, Martin, suck. They are not saying that. That might be what we hear when we get rejected, but that's our brain telling us that. That is our brain saying that. This person rejected me because I suck. This is the whole dating world thing too, right? I'm too much of a nice guy. Girls don't ever want to go out with me. Bullshit. The nice guy trope is bullshit. The real nice guy trope, the real reality of it is that person was secretly not being very nice. If you're only friends with the girl because you want to date her, and then the second she doesn't want to date you, you're like, this person's a jerk or B word or whatever. That's on you. If the only reason you're networking with people is to get a job and then you hate them when they don't give you one, that's on you. If every time a company says this isn't the right fit and you take that as a personal slight against your ego, that's on you. Now, I'm being harsh here. I understand I'm being harsh here. So let me pull back the reins a little bit. Companies are not trying to personally insult and slight individual job seekers. I've never met a hiring manager who is sitting there rubbing their hands together going, I can't wait to fuck up this person's life. I can't wait to ruin this person's confidence. I can't wait to make this person feel stupid. I've never met anyone on the hiring side who thinks that way. Here's what they actually think. Oh my God, I have so much shit to do. I don't know who to hire. This person seems okay. They seem to have all the credentials. Do you think this person has all the credentials? I think this person will work. What do you think? Let's have a whole committee get together, and then we have to fucking talk about it in this goddamn committee. And then this person has an opinion, and that person has an opinion. And now we have to argue, and now we have to weigh pros and cons. And yeah, I guess this person works, or whatever. We just need someone. Do you know anyone who can do this? Okay, fine. We're just going to give it to that person. Let's move forward. That's what it's like on the hiring side. They're not sitting around trying to ruin people's lives. And when we think about hiring people as sinister people twirling their mustaches, we completely ruin our ability to get a job. We ruin our ability to get a job because we're coming in defensive. We're coming in thinking that this person wants to ruin us. What we need to do is say, this person is stressed out, overworked, underappreciated, and I'm here to help. But they don't know that I can help them. They don't understand the value that I can bring to this. They speak a totally different language, and I need to educate them on how I can help. And if I can educate them on how I can help, then they may understand and they may want to work with me. But if I don't educate them in a calm, nice, engaging, helpful, non-pressury way, they might get scared and run away. They might get overwhelmed and go with someone else. I see I've hit a nerve, Brian. So I hope you're taking what I'm saying in stride. And on an individual level, I'm not trying to tear anyone down. I'm just trying to talk broadly about mindsets in the job search and the habits that we need to foster in our brain to get through this alive. But let me read through some of your comments here. I want to get work and do something meaningful. I force myself to get out of my comfort zone, be creative with my approaches, try and failing only to run into the same walls over and over again, over and over and over. I put in the work, I have experience. I will argue more than most do. I even talk to as many recruiters as possible and ask what they are looking for only to get conflicting information. You do or do not have enough experience. Your resume is too long, too short. Am I forcing myself to think positive as possible? Only to be 30 rejection emails a day. I instinctively skim for the word unfortunately in each one. I message thanks still anyway for some reason. I still put all my effort into each one of these, trying to find ways to solve the problems of these places and thinking of them first, only to be told I'm not good enough. I understand it's not personal, but tells me that, but still tells me when I consistently applied that I don't measure up to expectations of the career. It's one thing not to be accepted by one company, but 1,500 plus. Every day from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., I'm either studying for programming interview questions or networking or firing off resumes. One cannot say I'm not trying hard enough. I think that's fair. I definitely think you're trying hard. I would not ever say that you aren't putting in the work because you're showing up to these live streams, you're chatting with me via DMs, you're putting in the work. What do you think whenever we're talking about the job search, I'm always trying to put myself into the company's shoes to see what it is that they might be experiencing. And when I put myself into that situation, when I put myself into their shoes, my initial expectation is that no one has a job for me. I have to convince them to give me a job. No one is. I'm a coach, right? No one has to work with me. There are plenty of coaches for people to work with. I have to convince people to work with me. And so every day when someone decides not to work with me, whether it's directly to my face, which is the most personal thing, right? Someone says, hey, I'm interested in your coaching services. We get on the phone, we talk for a half hour, and then they say, nah, it's not the right fit. That is a very personal no, right? My entire goal when I hear a no like that is to say, I'm glad they're going to go find someone that is a better fit. Because I don't want to work with people that aren't a good fit in both directions. So, Brian, you're asking the very first thing that I said to you when I got on the stream, I told you my situation and asked what I'm doing wrong. What I want to touch on here, because this is something you've asked a number of times, what am I doing wrong? I want to change the question. I want to change the question to what are you doing right? And what can you do? What right things are you doing? Can you do better? My goal hasn't been what can I get out of the company, but how can I be worth some company's time? Was it in the form of a good resume, good communication skills? Since we're talking back and forth, Brian, what is the primary problem that you're trying to help companies with? What is their number one problem that you want to help them solve? Can you put that in the chat when you get a chance? What is the problem that almost every company that you interact with has that your skills will solve and help them improve their business? That's the question I want to hear your answer to. I want to take a step back here and look at the ways that we respond to things mentally and the ways that we should be responding instead. Really quick. Your headline is that you're looking for big problems to solve. What does that mean? What problem do companies have that you solve that improves their business? What is the problem? You're saying problems. if you're saying I solve big problems, I'd say what? Global warming, design. Are you an architect? There's a million problems. Which problem are you solving? That's the question that I've got here. So when we get rejected, most of us say in our heads, I'm not good enough. What we need to say is, what were they actually looking for? When we wake up and we have to write a cover letter, most of us go, this is going to suck. What we need to think is, I wonder what I'll learn about myself writing this cover letter. When we look at our resume, we say, what in this resume is going to get me screened out of this job? When what we should say is, or should think is, how can I make this easier for the employer to understand what I do? And so on and so forth. I hope this translates to me trying to have an attitude to take on big issues. And then from there, I try to find this job-specific problem. And in the application process, there's always a spot to fill that crap in, and I get more specific to their needs. UI design, backend tasks, REST API. So I'm just going to call it out. The fact that you said fill in that crap shows an underlying tone of this is all bullshit and I'm only doing it because you're making me. And if that's the mindset, then they're going to hear it. They're going to hear it in your words, whether you want them to or not. If every person that I talked to in the job search, while I was talking to them about their career, if I was coaching people, my baseline is I feel for you because it's not easy and it's emotionally draining, and I want to be here to help you with the emotional side of things. But if every time I was on the phone with someone, I was thinking, this person's an idiot, why don't they know this? That's going to come through in my coaching pretty strong, and people aren't going to like working with me. So again, my point being here, you mentioned UI design, backend tasks, REST API. What is the core issue? You mentioned things that you do, UI design, backend tasks, REST API. But what is the business problem? The core business issue that you're solving with UI design, backend tasks, and REST APIs? What is the problem that you are solving? I'm a career coach. People think that the problem I solve is getting people jobs. That is not what I do. I have never gotten anyone a job. The closest I've ever gotten to getting someone a job was referring a coach to a company who now works for that company, and doing that with a handful of other people throughout my life. But I do not ever get my clients jobs. That's not what I do. It's not what any coaches do. Any coach who says they can get you a job is a liar. And that's not our job. My job is not to get you a job. That's not my job. My job is to tell you the truth about how your thinking is flawed, help you find the right perspective, deal with the emotional shit that comes along with this stuff, and troubleshoot any, resumes, cover letters, emails, writing, and all that kind of stuff. I'm a copywriter and editor. I am a therapist-ish kind of emotional support person. I am a place that people can vent, and I am a resource for proper thinking and knowledge around the job search. I do not get people jobs. I support people with the emotional shit and the marketing shit that they need to go through to get a job. That's why I'm a coach, not a placement consultant or something like that. I don't even think that's a real thing. Example, we are looking for a UI designer. I will tell them in an application that I'm a developer and in the past have solved hard UI challenges and even link them to examples. You still are not telling me the problem that you solve. Why do they need a UI designer? Why do they need a UI designer? What does a UI designer do that helps the business? Do you see where we're going with this? Do you see why the message isn't getting through? I'm being harsh here. I know that. I know I'm being harsh. I don't want to be a dick. Sometimes I come off as one. I know. I'm just trying to really hammer home how convoluted our messaging is when we talk about what we do. If you came to me and you're like, hey, Martin, I see that you're a career coach. How can you help me as a career coach? And I say, well, I coach people. You go, but how? How? Like, what are you going to do for me? Well, I'm going to coach you. How are you going to coach me? What are you going to, like, what problems are you going to help me with? Like career problems, like coaching stuff. It just keeps going in circles like that. Elaborating, I also tell them that I enjoy making things easy for people to understand with as little information as possible. That's awesome, but what problem does that solve? I'm going to just keep asking the same question until we get an answer. What problem does it solve? What problem does it solve? What problem does it solve? This headline needs to change if you want just practical, tactical advice. Looking for big problems to solve? Why are you looking? The problems are yelling at us. They're in our face every day. Here's a UX one that I'll give an example here. I help companies simplify their websites, reduce the number of clicks to purchase, and increase conversions and sales through UX design. The last time I did this, I shared how I solved comparing two items in a single card for a desktop and mobile environment. Okay, I think that's a good example. I think we're getting onto something here. You shared how you solved comparing two items in a single card for desktop and mobile. So what you did was you were able to build a solution that showed up on desktop and mobile in different ways, but both of them like solved the problem, right? So if that's the thing we're focused on, let's say that that's a business problem. I help companies create an online presence that is consistent between the desktop and mobile environments. And what this does for a business is allow people to interact with their online presence in both environments and not lose the goal of the website, whatever the conversion is. So you can increase sales or something by having a consistent environment, or improve the customer experience by having a consistent look in both places. Am I getting at the right things there? Right, but you're telling me what you've done. I want to know what you can do for me. I might not need that mobile environment. So what do I need? Right? You're trying to convince to give you a job. What is it that they need? So if I'm a web developer, and I'll give a real example from someone earlier this week. I'm working with someone, he's trying to find a job. I encouraged him to just start freelancing in the meantime until he can find a role. He goes, okay. I go, who are you going to freelance with? And he goes, I don't know. I like fitness. I go, okay. Reach out to fitness Instagrammers and see if you can help them improve their online experience to increase sales of their bookings and products. So he goes, okay. So he reaches out to a fitness influencer, and she already has a website, and she's trying to like promote products and stuff, but it's all clunky. It's not very well put together. So he reached out to her, he starts talking to her, and she goes, yes, actually, because of coronavirus and everything that's going on, I am trying to increase the number of people who book my virtual coaching sessions. And I'm also trying to sell some products. I need to get this up and running because I can't do in-person classes anymore or as much, and they're not as lucrative. So it's really important to get my online presence updated. So he said, I can help you build a website that is optimized for online bookings and product sales, and that will increase your bottom line. Now, he didn't use those exact words, but that's the problem that he solves. So now she has recommended him to her husband, and now he's just going to build a freelancing business where he helps fitness influencers build websites that convert their online virtual classes and products. So if he were to go sell this to more people, he would say, I help small business owners sell more virtual classes. Let me get even more specific. I help fitness influencers sell more virtual classes through my web development and building new websites. Do you see where I'm getting at with the specificity of this? And he's not talking about the past, he's talking about the future. I can help you book more virtual clients by updating your website that will increase your conversions. I don't understand. I showed an interface to you by looking at what solves a problem which I clearly outlined. I asked, how do you compare the two items on one card with little space as possible, but also want to present information given limited information? I show it in an animated GIF, which also shows the animations and expanded collapsed information. How am I not explaining how I solved a problem? You're explaining how you solved a problem. You're absolutely explaining how you solved a problem. I want to know what problems you solve for future clients, future companies, future employers. I'm sorry if I'm not making this clear. I'm sorry if I'm not able to articulate this how I want to. What is the core business problem that you solve? This is a great example right here, but it doesn't tell me how my business will make more money. It just says a capability that you have. It doesn't explain to me how I'm going to make back the money I give you plus more. As someone who is hiring contractors, right now, that has not paid off for me. Right now, it is all money out the door. There hasn't been an ROI yet, but I'm really hoping that there's going to be an ROI because I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on contractors that hasn't really converted yet. And that's the risk an owner of a business and a company takes when hiring people, is that they hope that this work will eventually pay off and make them back more money than they spent on the person. Doesn't the example translate to how I can solve UI problems? Not really. It says that you can solve UI problems, but it doesn't say the value of it. It doesn't say why I should care. You know, if I just told you that I can coach, that doesn't explain how I can help you as an individual. So what I say to folks, instead of I've worked with all these schools, I mean, I'll say, I think here's my point. What you gave as the example is a great backup example, a specific example that can showcase I'm tripping over my words. That is an example to back up your claims. So if your claim is, I help companies improve their UX and UI so that their websites can be on both mobile and desktop and convert more people into clients, and here's an example of how I do that, then that's fine. That's perfect. But if you don't have the first part, they're not going to know why we're talking about this example. So again, what is the problem that you solve for future employers, for future clients? Every single business needs to make money. Every single business needs to make money. How can you help them make money? If you can answer that question, everything gets a lot easier. And this goes back to that idea of what is the ROI of what you do? So Brian, what I'm trying to push you to do is say, I help these companies solve these problems with my UX UI skills. If we can make that sentence, I help, I'm going to put in the chat, these companies solve these problems with these skills to get these results. I help these companies solve these problems with these skills to get these results. I don't get this. I think I see what you're trying to say, but I do not understand how I can translate this to as wide a net as possible, especially if I'm ultimately trying to be a full stack, which by definition of the trade means skills are supposed to be widespread. So by definition, limiting to only one thing is a bad practice and selling myself short. I would agree with you if it weren't for the fact that what we're currently doing isn't working. Casting the wide net that you're currently casting isn't working. So what do we need to do? We need to change things. I help these companies solve these problems with these skills. And you can have 10 of these statements if you want. But we need to have at least one. So I help anxious job seekers deal with their stress and interview better in order to get the job they want. Here's my example. I help anxious job seekers deal with their stress and interview better in order to get the job they want. I help education boot camps who are overworked or who are understaffed fill gaps in their coaching needs so that students are feeling supported and outcomes are improved through coaching. So I help education boot camps or coding boot camps who are understaffed fill gaps in their coaching needs so their students are feeling supported and outcomes are improved. Those are two of my sales pitches. Victoria says companies need to know the why. Your examples are great and detailed, but why should they care? You need to connect those dots. I had the same problem, and I'm still working on the why they should care aspect of my answers. I'm sorry if I frustrated you today, Brian. I really am. I know this stuff is not the most intuitive. It takes a little bit of time to wrap your brain around. And I apologize if I'm being harsh in any way. I don't mean to be. I just get really passionate about this stuff. And I know that once we can get to the other side of it, things get simpler. So I'm really trying to hammer this home. And I'm also trying to figure out how I can better explain this stuff, because it's not easy to explain and teach. And I'm doing my best. So I appreciate you engaging, man. I really do. I'm definitely not trying to, put anyone down here. I really do want to help at the end of the day. And, when I get messages like, should I tweak my resume again? We know that that's not going to do it. Another tweak to the resume isn't going to change anything. Another tweak to the cover letter isn't going to make the difference. I guess my question is this sales message, why is this, even if we don't go and use it, let's say you don't ever use it, why is there so much resistance to even writing it? I guess that's my question. That's what I'll leave us with today. And Brian, we can chat more in DMs. But I don't understand the resistance to it. Why is writing this sentence so painful? I'm trying to figure that out. So if anyone has thoughts on that, please share it in the comments, because I'm really trying to make this easier for folks. And honestly, we're in the deep end here. We are in the deep end of career coaching. I'm not here telling you stupid bullshit about formatting resumes. People are going to sell you on that crap. People are going to charge you thousands of dollars to edit your resume, and it's not going to make the difference in your job search. I'm sorry, it just won't. So save your money and put it towards, don't put it towards anything. Just work on the sales pitch. Every company and every person who does anything has a sales pitch that they need to put together. And if we want to pay our bills, Brian, like you said, I know you hate this. I know you're not a social person, and I'm not trying to turn you into, I don't know, maybe I am. Maybe I am asking too much. I had a call yesterday, and a recruiter telling me that my resume was garbage. Stop talking to recruiters. Stop talking to recruiters. We had a recruiter on this show who said, I can't help people get entry-level jobs. I don't read resume or read cover letters. And job seekers really shouldn't be talking to recruiters because recruiters don't work for job seekers. They work for companies and they don't help job seekers. Stop talking to recruiters. And to your point, every single person you talk to is just going to be another opinion, another bit of noise. I feel you, man. I feel you, and I really, really want to help. I really do. I'm trying to figure out how to make this less difficult. And I truly believe if you could write this sentence down, it would change things. If you could make this sentence and you could send it to me, it would make a difference in your job search. I truly believe that. Prove me wrong, please do, if you want. But I really do think that if we can get our message this clear, it'll change things. Chad is saying, Brian, job searching is hard and emotional. Seems like you're in a place you might need more support in other ways. I definitely think that that's a good idea for everyone, honestly. I've gone to therapy. I've done things like that. I think it's incredibly helpful. And therapy has helped me in my career more than any tactics ever because it helped me get my head straight and not think that everyone was trying to attack me. It helped me get out of my victim thinking and into a bit more of a, what can I do despite the struggle, despite other people not caring about my shit? Because the truth is, no one cares about my shit outside of how it can help them. No one's watching this because they want to see, they want to see me just ramble on about stuff. They're watching this because they want what I say to help them, which is why we're in such a back and forth here. But if I'm not actually doing anything that's valuable to you, there's no reason to watch. I'll still create stuff because I just like creating stuff, but and I think that that's absolutely incorrect. Brian, I'm sorry, I got to disagree with you on this one. I do not believe that. Landing a job does not fix all our problems. It fixes a lot of problems, and you and I have had this discussion where it fixes basic financial stuff, living situations. All of that is it's well and good. It needs to get fixed. We need to get our finances in order, a place to live. I know you've got stuff in your life that you're dealing with. But the job does not fix all of our problems. I got a very high-paying job at a great company, and I was, quote unquote, had everything right, and my life was still a fucking mess outside of it. I still had horrible anxiety. I still couldn't hold a relationship together, and I had to go to therapy to deal with all that stuff. And as a matter of fact, not going to therapy made me worse at my job. So this is the shit. We are in the shit right now. We're deep in it. You're absolutely correct. It's the first step in solving problems. 100%. I agree with that. Chad says, you'll continue to be frustrated until you examine your expectations. All the work you put into your search will be moot if you're not taking care of yourself. And you need money to afford therapy. Yes. It's a fucking loop. It's a fucking loop, and it's annoying, and I get it. I'd like to get out of the conversation of why do I have to do this bullshit and get into the conversation of how do I do this bullshit. The why is irrelevant. We have to do this bullshit because we have to do this bullshit. We're born, we're alive, we're here. How do we do it in a way that we enjoy? I'm doing live streams. I'm doing podcasts. I'm doing all the things that I enjoy doing that help my career. I'm not going to events because I suck at going to events. I'm a wallflower. I don't like talking to people. Now, if I talk to someone and they say, what you have to do is go to events and collect business cards, like people told me in college, that's not going to work for me. But And that's why you're here. Dude, I know that's why you're here. And again, I'm not trying to hate on you. I'm really not. I'm just passionate about this stuff. And again, there's a lot of resistance here to writing this sentence. I'm just going to leave it at this. If we aren't willing to write this sentence, there's a deeper problem in the job search. So if you can write this sentence for me and send it to me in a direct message, we at least have a starting point for moving forward. If we're unwilling to write this sentence, even just as a mental exercise, I'm not quite sure where we go from here. So let's do that. And I'll be back tomorrow morning. I know we went a little over time today. So I appreciate everyone for joining. Man, we really get into it on these live streams. I mean, I hope I'm not being a dick. I hope I'm not being an ass. Maybe sometimes I will be. And maybe that's just part of who I am, and that's fine. I'm trying to be as authentic as possible on these things. So let's keep doing it. You know, I mean, there's a shitload of stuff that I hate doing that I do every day. So let's keep moving forward. You know, I don't like that I had to get up at 6 a.m. today and try and set up my bank accounts again because for some reason having my business account set up won't connect to my other accounts and I can't transfer money and they won't let me get a credit card and all these other things. Like there's a shitload of stuff I'm dealing with as a business owner that's so fucking annoying. But we got to do it every single day if we want to have the outcomes that we want. And I only mention it because we're talking about the annoying things. I'm not on here, hopefully. I don't know, maybe I'm bitching about more stuff than I realize, but I'm hopefully not getting on here and just bitching about stuff every day because that's not helpful. That's not helpful long term. What's helpful is getting up, doing it, and then keeping moving forward. And, you know, I'm paying Q3 taxes soon. Fun stuff. Not fun. Sarcasm, right? Not really fun. Necessary. And yeah, I mean, I complain about customer service and I complain about how the banks suck and I'll do that personally. But at the end of the day, you still got to do it. Like you still got to put up with it. And honestly, what I should do, and I'm going to call myself out the same way that I'm calling others out here, is I need to change my perspective from this is annoying to I'm excited to do this because I'm building a business and building a business is more exciting than not having these problems. All right. B. Oliver says, hey, Brian, you're getting a lot of information. Calm down. I will celebrate you soon when it gets difficult. So it will be over. I'm not sure if I got the last sentence there. This format may not be the most productive for this conversation. Brian, have you looked into being a private coaching session to help unpack this stuff? It's likely better than trying to do this during a live stream. I missed the first half of this, but could you make another live stream with examples of interview questions with the why, of answering interview questions with the why? Absolutely, Victoria. I'll make that tomorrow's topic. This has been a whirlwind of a live stream today. And I know we're doing a lot of back and forth where I'm talking and you're texting, Brian. So I appreciate you rolling with the difficulties of that. I know I've got a lot coming at you from this screen. All right. Thank you all for joining me this morning. I know it was an intense stream. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for another Get Up and Job Search. And I'll be bringing more your way soon. You'll soon get a job. That's what we're all rooting for. We're behind you. We're supporting you. That's what we're here for. And I'll see you all in the morning. Cheers.